what you're expecting now that you're back.
The lights dimmed at the United Center, and 22,000 voices fell to a whisper. Tonight wasn't just another exhibition match. Tonight, two titans of action cinema would settle their differences not with scripts or stunt coordinators, but with fists, heart, and decades of accumulated warrior wisdom. In one corner stood Jason Statham, the transporter himself, his lean frame coiled like a spring. Across the ring, Sylvester Stallone embodied the immortal Rocky Balboa, 77 years of age, but carrying the soul of a champion who never learned the meaning of surrender. The question burning through every mind in that arena wasn't just who would win, but whether we were about to witness the greatest underdog story ever told or the triumph of calculated precision over Hollywood heart. The atmosphere crackled with electricity as these two legends prepared for what many called impossible. Yet here they were, having agreed to settle their playful rivalry that had been brewing since their Expendables days. What started as backstage banter about who was the real fighter had escalated into something much bigger, something that demanded resolution. Statham entered first, moving with the fluid grace that had made him famous. At 56, the former British diver possessed a physique that defied time itself. His background wasn't Hollywood manufactured. Before the cameras ever rolled, he had spent years mastering Wing Chun Kung Fu, kickboxing, and mixed martial arts. His fighting style resembled a scalpel, sharp, precise, economical. Every movement served a purpose, every technique calculated for maximum efficiency with minimal energy expenditure. The Brit's psychological approach was equally methodical. He studied opponents like chess pieces, identifying weaknesses before exploiting them with surgical precision. His cardio conditioning, honed through decades of swimming and martial arts training, gave him the endurance to maintain his technical advantage deep into any fight. But critics questioned whether his calculated approach could handle pure, unfiltered aggression from someone who had built a career on taking punishment and dishing it back harder. Then came Stallone, and the building erupted. The crowd wasn't just cheering for Sylvester Stallone the actor, they were roaring for Rocky Balboa, the fictional character who had somehow transcended movies to become a symbol of American determination. At 77, logic suggested he had no business in this ring, but logic had never applied to Rocky. His fighting style was pure Philadelphia street fighting, mixed with decades of boxing training for his iconic roles. What Stallone lacked in technical refinement, he compensated for with something far more dangerous, an absolutely indomitable spirit. This was a man who had written Rocky while broke and desperate, refusing to sell the script unless he could star in it. That same stubborn determination that had created a cultural phenomenon now stood opposite Statham, ready to prove that heart could overcome technique. The opening bell rang, and Statham immediately established his game plan. He circled laterally, using his superior footwork to control distance while peppering Stallone with quick jabs and leg kicks. The younger man's strategy was obvious: use his speed and technical advantages to accumulate damage while avoiding Stallone's power shots. Rocky absorbed the early punishment with characteristic stoicism, occasionally grunting as Statham's kicks found their mark on his ribs and thighs. But anyone who had watched the Rocky films knew this was exactly how every great comeback began. Stallone was downloading information, studying his opponent's rhythm, waiting for his moment. Round 3 brought the first major shift. Statham had been landing clean shots for 2 rounds, but his punches weren't stopping the Italian stallion. Worse, Rocky was beginning to time his movements. When Statham threw a particularly crisp combination, Stallone slipped the last punch and landed a thunderous right hand that sent the crowd into delirium. The shot rocked Statham backward, his technical composure momentarily shattered. For the first time in the fight, he looked genuinely surprised. Rocky had just reminded everyone why he was a cultural icon. But Statham was a professional. He recovered quickly, adjusting his strategy to focus more on movement and less on standing exchanges. The middle rounds became a fascinating tactical battle. Statham's conditioning allowed him to maintain his pace, but Rocky's experience helped him cut off angles and force closer quarters combat. Each round seemed to swing momentum between technical precision and raw determination. By round 6, both men were showing wear. Statham's face bore the marks of Rocky's heavy hands, while Stallone's body reflected the accumulated damage of dozens of precise strikes. The crowd sensed something special building. This wasn't just an exhibition anymore. This had become a genuine war between two different philosophies of combat. The turning point came in round 7. Rocky had been pressing forward relentlessly, but Statham caught him with a perfect counter as the older fighter committed to a big right hand. The kick landed flush on Stallone's solar plexus, doubling him over and sending him stumbling backward. For a moment, it appeared the technical fighter had solved the riddle of Rocky Balboa's heart. But then something magical happened, something that reminded everyone why Rocky movies had inspired generations. Stallone straightened up, looked directly at Statham, and smiled. Not a grimace or a sneer, but a genuine smile that said he was exactly where he wanted to be. The crowd recognized that smile, and their roar became deafening. The final 2 rounds transformed into pure cinema. Rocky abandoned any pretense of defense and began walking through Statham's techniques, absorbing punishment to land his own shots. Statham's precision remained sharp, but Rocky's willingness to trade damage for position began paying dividends. Each exchange brought them closer together, and close quarters favored the brawler over the technician. With 30 seconds remaining in the final round, both men stood toe-to-toe in the center of the ring, throwing everything they had left. Statham's combinations were still technically superior, but Rocky's shots carried the weight of 7 decades of accumulated toughness. The crowd was on its feet, witnessing something that transcended sport and entered the realm of legend. When the final bell rang, both fighters embraced in the center of the ring, mutual respect evident in their exhausted smiles. The judge's decision was academic at this point. Everyone in that building knew they had witnessed something special, regardless of the official outcome. After 9 incredible rounds, judges awarded Jason Statham a unanimous victory. His technical superiority and conditioning overcame Rocky's heart-driven moments. Yet both legends won something greater than any scorecard could measure. Statham proved technical skill conquers determination, while Rocky showed the human spirit competes regardless of age. As they embraced mid-ring, Chicago witnessed history. The real victory belonged to everyone watching. Two icons give everything for pure competition love. True victories aren't scorecards, but inspiration provided to those in the stands.